It's the third round of the S1GP season and our northernmost destination so far. Welcome to Germany, welcome to St. Wendel. Situated in northeastern Saarland, St. Wendel stands by the River Blies and is currently home to 25,000 residents. This town's surroundings are a luscious green, and the town itself is a healthy mix of modern and historic, as one would expect from an area with over 1,000 years of history. Architectural highlights include the 18th century Wendels Chapel and Münster House, while the town also hosts a vibrant art and culture scene, including an international jazz music festival. St. Wendel is very sports-centred, hosting marathons and even 2 editions of the UCI Cyclocross World Championships. The Wendelinus Park is the homestead for our layout here in the FIM Supermoto World Championship. It has become a long-standing fixture within the Supermoto community and presents one of the most unique challenges of our season. Last time out in Sardinia, a new race winner emerged in S1GP, and at this early stage of the season, it could mark the start of a title challenge from Steve Bonnel.
Yeah, I'm happy after my P2 in Sardinia. It was a good GP for me with my first win. This weekend is going to be different. It's the home GP of Mark, but we know he had an injury this week, so it's going to be maybe helpful for me, but also we know Mark is stronger in this condition, so it's also in home GP, the crowd gonna push him every lap. Also have a good feeling with my bike, with my team TSV Moto TM Factory. The bike is amazing. We work a lot on me and on the throttle of the bike, so we improve a lot. I'm happy also with the suspension, or the bike is perfect, and I think we see him on track, so I'm happy to TM, thanks to TM also, thanks to all the team is insane. I'm happy. I can't wait to ride with Mark and also Lucas, and on this special track in Germany. It's a city track, a lot of people here, it's atmosphere is crazy. So I can't wait. See you guys.
The St. Wendel City Circuit offers quite the special event feel and presents unique challenges to our riders. A high-speed dirt section is paired with technical running on tarmac and even brick surfaces. We're in the home nation of our defending champion Mark Reiner Schmidt, and for all our other street fighters this weekend, he is the final boss. Despite carrying an ankle injury sustained last time out, he's up for a track walk.
Hello guys, and welcome back to my home GP here in St. Wendel in Germany. I'm super hyped, I am ready to go. Here we are on the start-finish line, so I'm waiting for some good racing action here. We have a nice track, and I will introduce you to some of the hotspots here in St. Wendel, so come and join me. Yeah, after the finish line, which is the most fastest part here on the track in St. Wendel, we have cross corner left, so you go 3 gears down and you will arrive here in the second corner. It's one of the slowest parts, and you go down until first gear, and as you can see, it's very tight. And yeah, from here the infield start, and you have to adjust the direction from left to right soon to come for the next double right-hander. So yeah, tricky point. You see also a little bit uphill here, and you come to the flat, so it's not easy to make it, but if you can make it good, you are on point. So this is one of my favorite off-roads in the calendar, because with the split lanes you have a lot of possibility to overtake the rider. It's really interesting for us, for the riders and also for the spectators. You can cross the lines in between the split lanes, and we can make a lot of good battles. I'm ready to go.
He's ready to go. Mark is 3 weeks post-injury, 2 weeks post-operation, but just as quick here. Buckle up. Riding on board then into the first corner. Fairly standard 90-degree bend, but especially on that first lap, finding space through this first section is going to be imperative. Out left and then onto the dirt section, which throws you up into the air on arrival. Then this split lane section that Mark was talking about, and you can easily try and make a move, go the other way and gain a place. Lots of side-by-side over this last tabletop before going back onto the tarmac and brick section. As you can see, some multi-surfaces to deal with here. It's quite slippery in nature as well, of course, as it's not permanent racing surface. Picking up the speed a little bit here through this square section. As you can see, these apex curb structures there to slow things down just a little bit. One last chicane, which you can't really do in anything more than single file, but then you open up the taps after one last off-camber left to complete the lap here in Sankt Wendel. In Superpole, our fastest riders compete for the right to start at the sharp end as well as additional championship points. 30 riders in Q1 were whittled down to just 9 for Q2. The final 3 duked it out for supremacy in the Superpole session. Steve Bonnel's confidence has certainly been buoyed by his race win in Sardinia, and he made it to this Metzler Superpole session after finishing 3rd in both Q1 and Q2. He was out first with Mark Reiner-Schmidt and Lucas Hurlbacher to follow. It's just one lap, of course, in Superpole. The circuit is for you and you only, but there is huge pressure to perform. It was a really solid lap from Bonnel, including a near-perfect final corner. The benchmark he set was a 1:09.74. Mark Reiner-Schmidt was up next. He went out onto the circuit with the home crowd firmly behind him. Riding with an injury is always a mental challenge, but it was clear that Mark's pace and prowess here at Sankt Wendel was unaffected. The Team Undici TM Riders lap was tidy, and it was very, very rapid indeed. But the question as he came across the line was going to be, would it be enough? Would he beat Steve Bonnel? The answer was no. The lap time came in at a 1:01.020. That was the result, less than half a tenth back from Bonnel, who now had pole in his sights. Lucas Hurlbacher came into Superpole as a roaring favourite. The Schroof Racing KTM had been fastest across Q1 and Q2, and his Q2 time was half a second faster than the Superpole target laid down by Bonnel. But would the heat be in the tyres? Would every apex be nailed on his quest for P1? By eye, it was clear that the Austrian's lap was on par with the efforts from his rivals, but the world's fastest Baker was only able to finish 3rd on this occasion. Therefore, it was pole position for Bonnel, as well as 3 championship points, €500, and a heap of additional confidence. Race 1 of the weekend, and Steve Bonnel is on pole position. Schmidt and Hurlbacher alongside Avia Cortez, Sitnianski and Eddie Freck on a very strong row 2. Sammartin, Ioannidis and Kivers on row 3. Payet, Nedved and Ullman bring us down to 12th. Well, this race has been delayed by a thunderstorm around the area. We finally get going, but the conditions are slippery. Mark Reiner-Schmidt gets the best launch of anybody. He leads the first few corners of the race. Bonnel trying to hold on that second position. I think he succeeded at doing so. Hurlbacher behind him, fighting it out though with Elias Sammartin. Sammartin is up there, so is Sitnianski and Eddie Freck, who started on that second row of the grid. Steve Bonnel following in the tyre tracks there of Mark Reiner-Schmidt. Interesting that they're all going for the outside line there through that second dirt section. We saw them doing the opposite in Superpole. It looks like Elias Sammartin has gotten through into 3rd place there. Yes, he has, the 32. Starting on row 3, now up into the top 3. Really good effort from the Italian. There's Mark Reinerschmidt, though. The home fans will be willing him on. He sustained ligament damage and some bone fractures in his ankle during the Sardinia weekend. He's had surgery just 14 days prior to this event. And so, as much as he's always the favourite, the odds slightly stacked against him on this particular weekend. Sammartin's still there in third position, holding off Hurlbacher for the time being, but I'm sure Lucas will be immensely keen to get through and try and pursue this man and Bonnel ahead of him. Out of the final corner goes Mark Reinerschmidt. Already some traffic in the distance, and it looks close for third position. Is that Hurlbacher with a run? Yes, it is. Lucas Hurlbacher with a nice lunge to the inside. Third place for him. I think geographically, this is his closest to home race of the weekend of the season. It's just across the Austrian border, German side of the nation. Hungary won't be a million miles away for him either. That's our next stop on the calendar. Mark Reinerschmidt very carefully picking his lines, as is Bonnel, and you can see the amount of mud that's being dragged from the dirt section practically most of the way around the tarmac area. The circuit is a completely different character from what they experience in the dry in these treacherous conditions. Mark Reinerschmidt, though, has probably done more laps than anyone else on the grid around this Sankt Wendel layout here in Wendelinus Park. So he'll have seen it all before, I'm sure. Lucas Hurlbacher is closing in on Steve Bonnel, I'm sure. Bonnel starting to feel the pressure from the Schruff Racing KTM rider. Lucas, always a factor, always spectacular. Great to have him back in Supermoto World Championship this year after an absence in 2024. Can he challenge Bonnel? Michael Vertemati going a lap down on Mark Reinerschmidt there. Vertemati, a long-time proponent of this Supermoto World Championship as well on his home-prepared machine. Steve Bonnel, we ride on board again. The laps are ticking down, and for now he's got control over second place. He's going to the inside line here through the second dirt, and it hasn't worked at all. He's gone down. Steve Bonnel there had to take an alternative line. Through goes Elias Sammartin. Sammartin then will be moving up to second, and there's Lucas Hurlbacher. I think Hurlbacher may have been delayed by Bonnel's moment as well. Still fighting, but now behind Elias Sammartin, who's in second place. This man, Mark Reinerschmidt, won't know about any of it. All he knows is he claims his first checkered flag of the weekend. It was Schmidt from Sammartin from Hurlbacher. Hurlbacher at least managed to get third. Bonnel, Sitnianski and Avia Cortez, your top six in a dramatic and slippery race.
I'm super happy. Crazy condition for a rider. I try to start and don't make never mistake. I start in fourth position. I control all the race for not making never mistake and finish in second position. I'm super happy for me, for my team, for Honda. Super happy.
Sunday in Sankt Wendel, and the skies overhead still looking a little bit threatening, but that doesn't stop the fans from coming out in their droves to see the action up close and personal. This town of 25,000, I think, has a few more residents on this weekend with the FIM Supermoto World Championship in town. Fast race time, and it's another attempt from pole for Steve Bonnel, but again, Mark Reinerschmidt has a magnificent launch and leads into the first corners. Oh, and Bonnel down in the mid-pack. That's going to be hugely uncomfortable for him. Everybody is avoiding the number 3, but early doors, Steve Bonnel has again gone down, and since it's so early in the race, he'll have lost a huge number of places. Right on board with Roman Kuyvers, teammate to Steve Bonnel. He's moved up into 7th position in amongst all of that. But the front of the field, it is Mark Reinerschmidt in control. The Team Undici TM is again peerless at the front after the end of the first lap. Look at the gap down the main straight between Schmidt and I believe that's Lucas Hulbacher in second place. Mark Reinerschmidt won't maybe be aware even of Bonnel going down. That's Lucas Hulbacher in second, then it's Sammartin, then it's Julien Avia-Cortez in 4th place. Roman Kuyvers. Now the leading TSV machine with that down for Steve Bonnel. Not what we wanted for Bonnel's Sunday. Has really started to establish himself as a rival to this man Mark Reinerschmidt and Lucas Hulbacher with his performances at Sardinia and then last time out on Saturday here at St. Wendel, but now Bonnel having to make his way through the field down in 14th at the moment. I think he will have been outside the top 20 once he picked that bike back up, so he's making his way through slowly but surely. Let's see how many points he can reclaim from this. Sometimes bouncing back is key in Supermoto. We ride on board with Bonnel and a mix of traffic and battling all going on at once here as he threads the needle through the field. I think he had Jonas Nedved there as his next target. Hulbacher running a fairly lonely second position at the moment. But all things considered, I'm sure that's fine with him. The 140, the next target for Bonnel, who seems to have fallen back a little bit once again. He's behind Eric Prevaznik. Prevaznik aboard his TM. Bonnel should make short work, but the field getting more and more competitive. It's not just quantity this weekend, but a lot of extremely talented riders have joined the series. Nonetheless, Bonnel picking through there and moving up to 12th place. But 12th does not score the kind of points that Bonnel will need this weekend, especially with Schmidt on this kind of form at the front of the championship and leading the field comfortably. Up through the gears, we spoke about that main straight with Mark Reinerschmidt, of course, when he was doing the track walk. You have to go 3 gears down the box for that first corner, pick up some good speed. An interesting mix of high speed and technical here on the streets of St. Wendel. It looks like Elias Sammartin is starting to home in on Lucas Hulbacher. Sammartin has the bit between his teeth in race conditions here. Roman Kuyvers still, I think that's pursuing Milan Sitnianski. Eddie Freck in amongst it as well. We got a rider down. Who was that on the deck? It looked to me like a KTM. It could have been Avia-Cortez. We're a couple of laps from home, and again, all the drama is happening behind Mark Reinerschmidt. That's just fine with him. So then it was Mark Reinerschmidt who won the race. Hulbacher holding on to second from Sammartin, Ioannidis, Kuyvers, Eddie Freck, Sitnianski, and then Steve Bonnel in 8th. It was Cortez who went down. He finished 9th ahead of Bessières. Here's what that does to the order. 53 points for Schmidt, 43 for Hülbacher, Sammartin third, Steve Bonnel still fourth in the Grand Prix, but unfortunately only on 34 points. Super final time, and Mark Reiner Schmidt starts alongside Hülbacher and the very strong Elias Sammartin. Ioannidis in fourth, Kuyvers fifth, Eddie Freck in sixth. Seventh position for Sitnianski. Bonnel will be disappointed with eighth, as will Avia Cortez in ninth. Bessier, Nedved and Prevaznik. This order set by the fast race. Dry conditions for the riders as they launch for the final time. Can Holshot Hülbacher make it work? No, he doesn't. Mark Reiner Schmidt is the master of the Holshot this weekend. We've got one rider down there. That was the 36 machine, I believe that was, of Sergio Rego. Steve Bonnel, meanwhile, trying to make his way through the order early on. He's with Julian Avia Cortez, both riders who would expect to be fighting for podiums every time they come out on the bike. Following his teammate Roman Kuyvers there through the outer line of the dirt section. But Mark Reiner Schmidt has once again leapt to the front. For Lukas Hülbacher, it's imperative that he holds on to the rear wheel in the early stages here, and he's doing just that. Nothing like the advantage for Schmidt at the end of the first lap this time around. Mark Reiner Schmidt for Team Undici, with a heavy favourite position for the Grand Prix as an overall entity. 10 points clear going into the super final is pretty comfortable stuff. You'd need to lose quite a few places to not win the Grand Prix. But Lukas Hülbacher would love to just get himself ready for the rest of the season with a victory here. Good little dogfight going on here with Ioannidis leading a 4-bike scrap. Then it's Sitnianski in 5th place. Bonnel goes the other way, tries to make the place. This is the beauty of this 2-lane dirt section, and it's at least 1 place for Bonnel. He gets past Milan. Good move from him. It looks like it is Ioannidis the next target. Meanwhile, at the front, it's relatively plain sailing for Schmidt. Has started to build a gap, and Ioannidis on his TM machine will be looking to really make a statement. The independent entry in the FIM World Championship, get some good results on the board in his home Grand Prix. Bonnel again taking that outside line, and again he's gonna make it work. Bonnel has found his overtaking spot. Now he needs to get the hammer down and try and chase the podium places. He's up to 4th position. Mark Reiner Schmidt going through the Joker lane. They all have to take just the once in the super final, but he rejoins the circuit with Lukas Hülbacher nowhere in sight. And so as Schmidt carries on, that very same Joker lane has jumbled up things a little bit further back. It looks like it's Hülbacher versus Bonnel for second in the distance, but at the front of the field, it has been a dominant display, ankle injury and all, from Mark Reiner Schmidt, who has swept his home Grand Prix and extended his advantage in the championship. Super final standings then, and Mark Reiner Schmidt wins out from Bonnel, who did claim second in front of Hülbacher, Sammartin, Sitnianski and Eddie Freck, your top 6 in the super final. This is the Grand Prix standings. Schmidt wins it by 20 points over Hülbacher. That is really dominant. Sammartin, Bonnel, Sitnianski, Kuyvers, Cortez, Nedved, Freck and Ioannidis, your top 10 in the Grand Prix of Germany. And a 3rd step of the podium for Elias Sammartin. Another really good weekend for him. That championship podium, top 3 in the championship, is what Sammartin will be hoping for at the bare minimum. Lukas Hülbacher will be happy with 2nd position. But Mark Reiner Schmidt, sheer delight in front of his home crowd. Everyone wants to be P1. But here in Germany, with Mark on the grid, it's that little bit less likely. Oliver Vorken presenting the trophy to Mark Reiner Schmidt, to the delight of the home crowd. Red plate from Jiri Sitina from FIM. And that red plate staying with Mark for another weekend. Can anyone beat him as we go into the final 4 events of the season? Certainly, he's on great form.
Guys, I'm super happy here in St. Wendel. I made another hat trick. I won every race here in the World Championship. Hence I'm here, so it's incredible. Big thanks this time to my medical crew. I had an incident in Sardinia and they fixed me well in such short time. So big thanks to Professor Dr. Klodwig Kirchhoff. All my stuff behind me, all the physios, all the guys, and for sure as always to my team and all the fans out there. Atmosphere was crazy. I'm leading the championship with many points. Can't wait to come to Hungary. See you guys there.
Many points, says Mark. To be specific, look at the advantage. It is 55 points that Mark Reiner-Schmidt has over Lucas Hurlbacher. Bonnel third on 181. Cortez and Sammartin, your championship top 5. Next up, it is a trip to Hungary for the first time in the FIM Supermoto World Championship. Visonta awaits.